This particular program, the theme we have chosen is to have the non-IT companies get ready for the new era of data protection. And that will include, of course, the small scale industries, MSMEs, some of them being in the manufacturing sector would not have so far given much of importance to the data protection area. Now, FDPPI, as Prakash was telling, has its own specific motto in India, and we are actually one of the prime organizations which is focusing on data protection. It's a dedicated organization for the cause of data protection and data governance. We are working towards building a compliant cyber society through skill development, organizational motivation of businesses, and of course, appropriate intervention in policy development and implementation as and when required. Presently, three major projects are under our radar. One is the Certified Data Protection Professional, which is a certification course to international standards. Second is development of a compliance framework called Personal Data Protection Standard of India. Third is the Data Disputes Mediation and Arbitration Center, which will be relevant after the Personal Data Protection Act comes into being, because it is mandatory for all the data fiduciaries in India to have a grievance redressal mechanism as part of their compliance requirements, which is something which is different from the similar laws outside India. So we want to be there at policy formulation, creating awareness, handholding the organizations for compliance, and if unfortunately disputes do arise between the data principals and the data processing companies, there has to be somebody to mediate and resolve the disputes. So we would like to have an end-to-end coverage of the requirements of this particular industry. Now, we have said that we are getting into what we can recognize as an era of data protection. Way back in the year 2000, India came up with the Information Technology Act. And actually, it started an era of, you can say, legal development of a cyber society. Now, in the last 20 years, Information Technology Act has been in place, and most of us are familiar with it. Now, that is the era of Information Technology Act. Now, from 2020 onwards, we hope that the Personal Data Protection Act era will unfold. It was way back in August 2017 that the Supreme Court of India said privacy is a fundamental right for citizens in India and it must be protected. As a fundamental right in the Constitution, it was the responsibility of the government to ensure privacy is protected. And this is the, you can say, the starting point for the new era, which we are calling as Personal Data Protection era. Now, subsequent to that, the Kerala High Court, in another case, extended this responsibility of data protection from the government, which was a constitutional obligation, to private companies, and it said that privacy protection of individuals is also the responsibility of the private sector. Therefore, we can no longer say privacy protection is a problem which the government has to handle, but it is also the responsibility of the private sector. Following this judgment, government was allowed to use Aadhaar for various purposes under a specific assurance from the government that government would soon pass a robust privacy protection law. Under this obligation, the Government of India worked on a draft law, and the latest version, which we call as Personal Data Protection Bill 2019, was presented in the Parliament in December 2019, and it is before the Joint Parliamentary Committee now for finalization. Once it is cleared, the bill would be ready for passage, and that is the starting point of this era of data protection which we are going to see, in which all of us will have a role to play. Now, this Personal Data Protection Bill 2019, we must recognize that is a game-changing law. Why I say it is a game-changing law is that the Information Technology Act 2000 is already there, and in fact, if any person, whether it is an individual or a company, if he contravenes the provisions of the law, then such person will be liable either for civil liabilities or even for criminal consequences. That is what Information Technology Act 2000 does. And there is also a provision for vicarious liabilities on the companies, so that companies as well as the executives of the companies will be liable for certain contraventions of Information Technology Act. This is already in existence. Now, within this Information Technology Act, there is a section called 43 capital A, which is applicable to body corporates, and it prescribes reasonable security practices to be followed by an organization if it is handling sensitive personal information. If not, the company will be liable for the civil consequences. Similarly, there is a section called Section 72 capital A of ITA 2000, which prescribes certain contractual obligations under which an organization which has collected the personal data from people under a contract, if it violates any terms of the contract, it will be liable for criminal offenses. So, Information Technology Act already has provisions for protection of sensitive personal information and protection of non-sensitive personal information. Section 79 for intermediaries in Information Technology Act has drawn up a set of guidelines which actually followed at that time the European Union guidelines on privacy. So it is in tune with the global practices of privacy protection, which includes collection of the personal information, how it is to be processed, how it has to be kept accurate, and so on. So India is already under a privacy protection regime under Information Technology Act. However, we still look at PDPB 2019 as a game-changing law, because the difference between ITA 2000 and this is that ITA 2000 actually applies only when there is a contravention which is recognized and somebody has suffered a loss. So there has to be a victim as a person who actually invokes either the adjudication process with a civil authority or the police as far as prosecution of criminal offenses are concerned. Now, PDPB 2019, which will become PDPA 2020, actually becomes, it goes a step further, and in this, what it does is, it prescribes elaborate precautions which have to be taken by an organization to protect personal data, including sensitive personal data. Section 43A only said sensitive personal data and left it vague to say reasonable security practices. But this personal data protection bill will be prescribing exactly what should be the compliance measures which have to be undertaken. It incorporates all the principles which are there in Section 79 2011 rules. So it is much more comprehensive. Another important aspect of PDPB which organizations should recognize is penalties may arise even if no crime has actually been recorded and there is no individual who is able to claim that he has suffered a loss, which was an action which was required under the Information Technology Act, which means that for mere non-compliance of some of the provisions of the law, there could be hefty fines. And when we say fines, under PDPB, penalties may go up to 4% of the global turnover of an organization. And in the case of government authorities, it may go up to 5 crores. And not only that there is a penalty, there will be a dedicated data protection authority who will be watching what industries are doing and proactively conduct audits if required and impose penalties without waiting for a complainant to come and report something to him. Now, while this is one aspect of PDPB, I look at the positive impact this PDPB is going to have on the industry in 2 ways. One, of course, when PDPB becomes an act, there will be a lot of opportunities, particularly for professionals who have to work as data protection officers in various organizations and advise them, guide them for implementation of whatever compliance is required. So that is something which automatically comes whenever a new law is in place. Additionally, very shortly, you will also start hearing of a new regulation called Non-Personal Data Regulation. And this Personal Data Protection Act will be a stepping stone on which the Non-Personal Data Regulation will be unveiled. In fact, PDPB 2019, the bill and forthcoming act will be the separator between the era of ITA 2000 and the forthcoming era of Non-Personal Data Governance Act. So we are talking of 3 different eras which any company handling data, which means that anybody who is using computers will be exposed to. One is ITA 2000, which is the past era, which will continue to apply. It is not the end of that era. It will be overlapping in the current era. Now this era of Personal Data Protection Act comes. While this is present, along with the ITA 2000, you will have one more new legislation which will unlock the benefits of value in the data once personal data obligations, protection of that is taken care of. So we have the government which has looked at the whole canvas of the data universe and looked at the data universe as a combination of personal data and what is not personal data is non-personal data. There is a need for preventing cyber crimes and other things for which ITA 2000 is working. Now we are coming to this information, the PDPA, which tries to protect the privacy rights of individuals. Then after having taken care of cyber crimes under Information Technology Act, taken care of privacy protection under the PDPA, what government wants to do is to ensure industry can take benefit out of data, which many people call it as oil, very potential for generation of income and so on, through the next legislation. But if you want to take the benefit of Non-Personal Data Governance Act, you must first of all know what is there in the privacy protection law. Therefore, we are looking at this as a turning point in the history of data processing in India. Keeping this in view, we are trying to look at this particular webinar, and we are going to have shortly a group of industry experts who will be there as a panel and will discuss a lot of critical issues of Personal Data Protection Act. Before that, I am trying to give only a bird's eye view of what is Personal Data Protection Bill as it is envisaged now and which will become a law at the earliest, for which we are all trying to make industries aware of and perhaps trying to be ready before the act becomes a law. Now, If you look at the essence of this law, it contains, of course, several things. I would like to just give the broad overview of what this act will be covering. The first thing is it will cover certain definitions and the applicability of the law. For example, it will say who is a data principal, who is a data fiduciary, what are the rights of the data principal, what are the obligations of the data fiduciary, and so on. Then to which type of people, data, etc., this will be applicable. So that is an important aspect of the law. Then we will be having what are the obligations which companies have to fulfill in terms of compliance and what steps have to be taken by them. There are, of course, list of exemptions which are also important because we should know whether we fall into the exempted category. If so, then our work will be somewhat easier. That is something as a part of the act we have to understand where exemptions are available. Some exemptions are there for government, some exemptions are there for law enforcement. There could be some exemptions for small entities also. So what are these exemptions? We will be looking at it. Then there is the rights given to the data principals. In fact, this concept of a right being given to a person who is handing over the personal data to the organization for processing is a sort of a new thought which emanated, of course, from the GDPR of the European Union, and that has been carried over into our personal data protection regulation also. Then there is always this controversial aspect of whether data has to be processed in India or it can be processed outside India. What should be the restrictions on transfer of personal data from India to outside country? This has been engaging the attention of everybody in the world, including the EU GDPR authorities. Recently, we had a lot of clash between the EU authorities and the US authorities on how data can be transferred to US for processing. The courts had a view which was different from the administrators. So the world is engaged on how to ensure that data moves from one country to another country. While on the one hand, we used to say internet has no borders, therefore e-commerce will enable a person sitting in some corner of the globe to do business with the entire world. Now, these data protection laws are coming back to create certain restrictions so that this concept of a global village in data, to some extent, is being curtailed. They're coming back to data space of India, data space of EU, data space of US, maybe data space of China, and so on. Each country wants to have its own sovereign rights exercised on data generated from their respective countries. In fact, that is the concept which drives us to this Non-Personal Data Governance Act also. So Personal Data Protection Act speaks about what restrictions are there on transfers. There is going to be a very important regulatory authority here. He is not the adjudicator whom we have seen in Information Technology Act. He is a data protection authority with a whole paraphernalia of officers, maybe in multiple parts of the country and so on. And it is the existence of this data protection regulatory authority that makes this law much more critical than the current laws, where the adjudicators and the courts were not that keen in taking proactive action in terms of either prevention of cyber crimes or any other matter related to data. Then, of course, the law also talks about various penalties. Basically, there are administrative fines, and there is only one stray instance of criminal consequence. So that is being covered by the Personal Data Protection Bill. Now, this is the whole gamut. Now, in terms of the applicability, we must understand that this law is applicable for government, commercial organizations, as well as non-commercial organizations who can be trusts, who can be educational institutions, etc. There is no distinction. There may be some exemptions here and there, but all types of organizations will be covered by this law. But it will apply to personal data. It will not apply to anonymized data, that is the data which cannot be related to an individual. It does not apply to non-personal data, which is again not data related to an individual. It can be a corporate data, it can be an environment data, and so on. So as long as personal data is collected, disclosed, shared, or processed in India, then that comes within the provisions of this particular law. Now, if there is a company or a body incorporated in India or any other citizens of India, if they are processing personal data of anybody, not only those of Indian citizens but others, they still have to abide by the regulations under this act. So it opens up the possibility that an organization which is a global organization having offices elsewhere in the world may be also answerable to the Indian Data Protection Authority. However, those entities who actually process foreigners' data, not Indian citizens' data, for which they don't have any Indian obligation of privacy protection under Constitution, Article 21, etc. But that organization in India, which processes foreigners' data from out of contracts which they enter into, that will be given some kind of an exemption provided they approach the Data Protection Authority. Then entities who are not present in India but looking at India for processing personal data connected with some business they want to carry on here, or they are profiling the Indian citizens' behavior, etc. Whether they are present in India or not, they will also be covered by this act. Now, coming to small entities, it is important for us to recognize that the act makes a distinction between manual processing and automated processing. Those who are small entities and who restrict their activity for manual processing, they will get exempted. But those who do automated processing are still under the regulation. So therefore, small entities, whether you call yourself small scale industries or whatever by name, you still have to look at whether this act applies to you. This definition of small entities may be based on turnover. It may be based on the purpose for collection, whether any critical information is collected. For example, if you are a pharmacy or something like that, doing scanning and other things, you are actually dealing with sensitive critical data. Even if you are a small entity that way, maybe you may be coming under a tiny sector also because your investments are low, you may still come under the personal data protection regulation. Similarly, organizations which handle financial transactions, even if they are small, because they are handling critical information, sometimes you are using Aadhaar, so you are collecting the biometrics. So irrespective of your smallness, you may still have to be covered under this Personal Data Protection Act. This is what most of the small entities need to remember. Now, volume of personal data processed is also a criteria which is used. Therefore, manufacturing industries who may be having lots of employees may come under this legislation, even though they do not handle the personal data of the members of public, like say IT kind of an organization. Now, small entities, if you come under the exemption, then you will have a lot of exemptions, like you don't have to give notice for collection of personal data, you don't have to worry about keeping personal data updated, there is no restriction on retention of personal data. Then if a data subject asks you some information, you don't have to be worried about providing it as required under penalty conditions. For others, the so-called rights of portability, right to be forgotten, which will be explained by my colleagues later on in the panel discussion. There are certain things called privacy by design policy. All these things are not applicable to the small entities, provided they are not processing personal data by automated means. Unfortunately, in India, most of the country today uses GST, which means that the moment you start using GST, you are already in a computerized environment. And if in that computerized environment, you have personal data of your employees, personal data of your dealer network, or your marketing data where you have done a market survey and collected information from the public, they all come under the Personal Data Protection Act. Therefore, no organization should be complacent that I am too small, I don't have to worry about this law. You may be small in certain criteria, but you will still be liable for the using of this particular, being compliant with this particular act. Now, one more thing I want to tell you before we move to the next section is that Personal Data Protection Bill is not a clone of GDPR. That is, if somebody says, I know about GDPR, so why should I know about PDPB? They are making a big mistake, because Indian law is somewhat different in many respects. We have a data fiduciary concept. We classify data fiduciaries differently. We have something called social media intermediaries. About foreigners processing, we have a different criteria. We have a sandbox scheme. We have got a privacy by design policy. We have got a data trust score based audit. These are all different and not there in many global laws. So compliance of GDPR will not suffice. You have to learn how to be compliant with Indian PDPB. Similarly, using the tools of compliance, the frameworks like ISO 27701, which is accepted globally for GDPR compliance, will not suffice for the compliance of PDPB in India. Keeping this in mind, since I told you FDPPI is interested in ensuring compliance by handholding the industry throughout from end to end, we have been trying to prepare professionals through various certification modules for Indian law, global laws, technology, audit, and behavioral skills required by the data protection officers. We also have created a Personal Data Protection Standard of India as a framework, which could help organizations to be compliant. And our objective is to ensure that this certification, as well as this kind of, you can say, compliance framework, is affordable to SMEs. See, the moment we talk of ISO, many small industries will say, that is not for me. That is for the big companies, okay? But what we are trying to do is, every organization, even if they are small, if we are saying that they have to be compliant, we also need to provide them the tools of compliance, and that is what FDPPI is very much interested in doing. It is in this context that we are asking people to be aware, to be ready, and be compliant to the law as it is emerging, for which we will try to do our best in terms of providing the guidance, providing our members will be providing the consultancy, and ultimately we want no excuse for people to be non-compliant. Okay, in fact, by having this kind of an activity in Karnataka, we are interested in Karnataka becoming the most PDPA aware state in India. Probably that is something which will help the industry grow better in India. Okay,